I'm going to show you how I divide a set of strings. I've got a set of strings that I'm just putting over the racket, and I want to make sure it doesn't touch the grip because it won't go around the grip very well. And I just slide it up there and keep pulling on the end of the string until it all unwinds. It very seldom ever tangles up on me. Then when I get to the end of it, I'm going to line up the two ends and then just pull both strings until I find the center. Alright, right here now would be the center of my strings, and I want the main strings to be about a foot longer. So I'm going to come down about 6 inches and cut my string. That gives me 1 foot longer for the main strings. When I start the mains now, I'm going to put a starting clamp on the second main. Then I'm going to tension the first main on the right side of the racket. Need to set my tension down here. Okay, good to go. One thing about O-ports now is this particular string is going to pull over to the far side of this O-port. So when I clamp this string, okay, it's actually in the wrong position. So now when I clamp the next string, it's going to try to pull the string back over this way. Okay? Alright, it straightened out the clamp a little bit, but it never did take the bend out of this string. When I release the clamp, it'll pull over some, and then I can come down here and clamp my string. If you don't have a constant pull machine that'll pull that string over and account for the bend in there, I actually wouldn't do that. I'm going to pull tension on the second main. Now that I'm one ahead on this side, I'm going to switch back over to the other side and string two mains. Now that I'm one ahead on that side, I'll switch back over here, pull tension on two mains on the left side. Now I'm going to start my crosses, and I'm going to start my crosses by pre-weaving the top three crosses. Now what I can do is I can either use a starting clamp on this string or I can use a starting knot. I'm going to use a starting knot. I'm going to give you a close-up of this knot because I don't think it's ever been shown anywhere. Alright, I'm going to start out with what's called a VS starting knot. This just goes around the anchor string 2 times, just like the Parnell knot, but on a Parnell knot I'd go through that loop and this bigger loop. What I'm going to do is skip that loop and go right in between so that I've got 2 loops on the string. Then I'm going to bring my string back through both of those loops. Okay? Once I get that, I can pull tension to tighten it up, and I should be good to go. Now before I pull tension on this string, when I pull tension, the tension on the string has a tendency to pull the knot inside of the grommet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold up on this string just like I was holding in the clamp when I first tie off initially, so that I don't pull that knot into the grommet. Then I'll clamp my string off, remove my tension, then I can cut off this tail. If I want, I can snug it up a little bit. And this knot right here looks very similar to the Parnell knot when you get done with it. Now I've got a little bit of a problem. If I pull tension on this string right here wants to ride right up against that other string, and I got very little room to get my clamp in there. So what I need to do is hold this string out this way. A lot of people might use a boomerang to go in here, or they might use a pen cap to go in there, or anything to hold this open, or all kinds of different things. I'm going to use a clothespin. This is a goofy looking clothespin, but it's a clothespin nonetheless. And I'm going to take that clothespin and put it on the outside main. Then I'll pull tension. Then I can put it over here to run my next cross. This way your boomerangs never get in the way of the side supports or anything else. Before I tension this string, I'm going to run one ahead on me. Okay, I'm ready to tension this string now, but I think you can see by looking right here that this string is not perfectly straight. But when I tension that next string, it's going to pull this string straight, and all I have to do is line it up. This clamp will keep the string from going backwards, but I also need to line it up. And I wouldn't suggest doing this unless you have a constant pull. Okay? So I'm going to pull tension on it. I'm going to loosen the base on this clamp, but not the clamp. I'll straighten the string out, then I'll clamp this string. Then I'll run in my next main. Excuse me, I'll run in my next cross. If I can hold on to the string. Alright, I've tensioned the string, and to get that string straightened out, I'm going to release the base on this clamp, straighten that string out, then move this clamp. And I'll do the same thing on the next cross. Right about this point is where I can actually pull tension on the string, and I don't need that clothespin anymore because I'm past the pivot point on my turntable. I think. I'm just going to try it and see. Alright, you can see where it didn't pull all the way up against it. It did a little bit. So I'm just going to turn the turntable to get it to line up right. Then clamp it. And that should be good to go. Now I no longer need the clothespin. And I can just go on down to the bottom of the racket, stringing it as normal.